You have to understand how your unconscious societal programming mechanisms work. They implant this narrative in you like an operating system, like software, and your mind becomes a computer, and it's going to do what it's told to do by the software engineers, the system. So every time you perceive something that has been deemed outside the allowable and acceptable parameters of that system, you will unconsciously send energies to this thing that it's an enemy. And if you don't know what it is and you don't recognize it, you will just disregard it. And that's exactly how they get you to do these things. And you're doing it and you're not even realizing you're doing it. So when you hear extraterrestrials, you go, oh, it's a bunch of garbage. And you hear other things that have nothing to do with your ordinary, average, everyday life, you just dismiss it as if it's just non existent and imaginary. Just take a look at this universe. Do you honestly think that this earth is the only thing that has life? Everything goes on forever in every direction. There's things that you can't even wrap your head around that are on this planet, let alone that exceed the limitations of this planet. For example, there are still dinosaurs alive, whether you want to realize it or not. You know, they made you think they went extinct because who's telling you this? The anthropologists and the archaeologists and all these people telling you, we're the experts, listen to us. They're not the experts in anything except lying. I'll give you an example. Back in 1933, a couple of scientists had journeyed to South Africa for whatever reason. But in 1933, their science books had listed the coelacanth, which was a fish, as being extinct from that point up until 83 million years ago. So, in 1933, their science book said that the coelacanth was extinct for over 83 million years. So here you got these scientists going to South Africa and looking to the local indigenous peoples, and they went to the shore to see all the fishermen coming in. And lo and behold, they were shocked and amazed at what fish were being brought in alive. Guess what they were? They were coelacanth fish. They were feeding the villages for centuries. So science had to go back and rewrite their precious books because they were wrong. You see how it's all nonsense? You know, and this is how they get you to say, that's garbage, that doesn't exist, there's no such thing as extraterrestrials, but now they're admitting it. Now the government's finally coming out and saying, oh, guess what, it wasn't a weather balloon, they're actually real, and everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, you know, because you can't think for yourself. Then Sasquatch doesn't exist. No, how can that be? It's just us and our cell phones and the internet, that's all there is in this infinite ocean of everything. Come on, folks. Do you think that this planet is for you? Why are you the youngest on it then? Everything that's here, it's been here billions of years before you have, but this earth is for you? How do you figure that? Just do the math. Run the numbers and do the math. Great white sharks have been here for billions of years roaming in the open oceans. Billions and billions and billions and billions of years, long before human beings were created on this earth. Long before you got here. So tell me again how this earth is for you. And how is it so hard for you to understand that there's so much more to this that you call a universe than you can grasp and comprehend and wrap your mind around? Why is that so hard for you? Why is it so hard for you to understand that there's other creatures from other planets? There is life everywhere. You think God just created just the earth and just the living creatures on the earth? Let me tell you the reason why you cannot perceive any other life other than what is on the earth, because the earth is the three-dimensional barrier. And you have a one-dimensional linear lateral mentality, a polarized mentality, a perceptive lens of duality that only allows you to operate in that limited environment of the matrix. So when you look through a telescope at Mars, you're going to see a lifeless rock because you haven't broken the third-dimensional barrier. You don't possess the elevated level of superconsciousness high enough to be able to truly view these things because you're not in that vibrational environment. You think that this is just a lifeless universe and this is the only life there is? In billions and billions and billions and billions of stars, like Dr. Carl Sagan said, and planets out there, the billions and billions of stars, it's just us. We haven't found anything yet, so therefore nothing exists. Come on, folks. Get with the program. Come on. I'm going to drop another truth bomb on you. Guess what? You are an extraterrestrial alien because you were brought here from somewhere else. Why do you think people look different? It is scientifically and medically, let me say this again, scientifically and medically impossible for two black people to make a white person when they procreate and vice versa. Why is that? Because they are anatomically different. The thickness of a black man's skull is different than that of a white man's skull. Because you came from a different planet and you were brought here. That's why you look different, for the diversification of this place. Don't you think God knows what God's doing? That's why everything is different. You know? They all lump you into the same gradation of species, human beings. No, you're not human beings. Homo luminous, not Homo sapien. The reason why people look different is because you are different. You're from a different planet and you were brought here, man. I know this sounds trippy and out there and like I'm a drug addict, but I ain't telling you none of that is real. That's all BS. This is the truth I'm laying on you. This is why people look different. This is why people have Asiatic folds and they have darker pigmentation. And all of these other physical characteristics and attributes, because it's beautiful. And the truth is, you did choose. Before you came to this earth, you chose your life, you chose your parents, and exactly what body you would occupy. And you also chose what your parents look like as well. And that's the truth. You chose your gender, you chose your sexual preference, all of that stuff. But after you're born, it's not a matter of choice, it's a matter of actually living those choices. So that's why I say homosexuality is not an abomination in the eyes of God, because God created homosexuality and bisexuality and heterosexuality. Because after all, did you choose heterosexuality? Did you choose heterosexuality? Answer my question. Did you choose heterosexuality? Yes or no? So what the hell would you think? What would make you think that somebody else chooses it after they're born? You don't just decide to say, hey, you know what? Today I'm just going to try being homosexual. No. And the reason that you have two heterosexual parents that give birth to 10 children and 2 of them are homosexual because they hide away from society out of fear of being ostracized as a pariah and maybe even killed. Because don't forget, only up until a few years ago was this socially acceptable. Even in Jamaica, they burn homosexuals and kill them because of being homosexual, because religion told them to do it. Religion has no need for homosexuals because homosexuals in their Bible have been listed as abominations in the eyes of God. Why? Because 2 men cannot procreate. 2 women cannot procreate. So therefore, the religious corporation has no use for a group of people that cannot make new generations and make babies. That's why they're cast out, ostracized as pariahs, abominations in the eyes of God. It's all garbage. Source is the source of all creation, not just some or a little or most or many, the whole freaking thing, not just human beings, but all of the creatures that have been here before you, man, billions and billions of years before you. Go look on your phone, the oldest known human being. I could save you the time. The oldest known bipedal anthropomorphic hominoid is Homo habilis, 3.2 million years. Go say 4 million years, right? Extrapolate that information in juxtaposition to the age of the Earth. You can see there's great discrepancies going on. The Earth is well over 5 billion years old, and human beings are not even 4 million years old. You see where I'm going with this? I hope so.